Views about the economy begin to harden in an election year around May. If that theory holds, Democrats are in some serious trouble right now because in our new NBC News poll, just 16% say the country's headed in the right direction, while a whopping 75% say we're on the wrong track. In fact, that wrong track number has been 70 plus for 7 months, which in the past has signaled big losses for the governing party. President Biden's numbers have hit a new low. Only 39% approve of his job performance against 56% who disapprove. In fact, the president has now become as unpopular as Donald Trump in this poll.
That's for fucking sure. Yeah. Yeah. I got a political hard on for a story, so yeah, I couldn't help myself. Oh, you're not. They can't hear you at all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Hello, Elucid. Welcome to the show. How y'all doing today? An audio check real quick. Let me see. Pull up the stream.
Damn.
Let's pull it up.
It is. Okay, I got it. For some reason, freaking OBS.
I can hear you.
Yeah, for some reason, OBS changed my damn microphone.
Well, make sure you guys like the video now. We finally got the audio fixed.
All right.
Give us a like. Tell us we did a good job.
Yeah, right. So let me do that again. Welcome in.
Take two.
Yeah, welcome into the Clear as Mud podcast. And I'm River, and that's Banana. And
hi.
We normally we try to have.
We're doing it live.
We try to have lighthearted subject matter content, right? We don't, but sometimes the stuff that we cover, especially when it starts dealing with real world stuff, which is what we're dealing with today, tends to be a little heavy. And today is a little bit heavy.
That's for sure.
And we have so much to kind of go over, and so to try to keep this within our hour to hour and a half time frame. With your permission, Nana, we'll just need to kind of, just get right off into it, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So I guess, as they say, we're going to just rip the Band-Aid right off the scab right now. So yesterday we had a report coming out of Buffalo, New York, where and the alleged gunman shot up, I believe it was 13 people. At the time that this original tweet came out by Breaking 911, there was 8 killed. I think that number is now, I believe, up to 8, or I'm sorry, up to 10. So
there was a shooting yesterday in Buffalo,
New York. Yeah, the reports coming out that this individual, this young man who was 18 years old, was shouting racial messages or I don't know what you would call it, words. And this was the area where this was done is predominantly a black community, and so this guy went in, and it was just, and it's horrible.
It is horrible. It's what we were talking about last week. This shit is a symptom of the fucking radicalization of both sides of America getting further and further apart. You pay for it when you play these games. It's sad. It's like people go isolate themselves on the 4chan, and fucking
Yeah.
think they're doing something to save the world. Really, they're probably like schizophrenic and need help. It's really sad. It's sad that 10 people died that didn't deserve to die.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about anything that happened yesterday. So no.
No. And one of our favorite streamers out there, Hassan Piker.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Not missing up an opportunity to grandstand, to get behind his bully pulpit.
Hold on one second, Riveter. Miss Abby Blackbird says you're really quiet. Who's really quiet? We can fix that real quick. Go ahead. It might be you, Riveter. Last episode, you were pretty quiet.
Was I a little bit quiet? All right.
You were a little quiet.
I'll bump my audio up a little bit then. Hopefully that's better.
Let us know in the chat, guys, if we fixed it.
Yeah.
Sorry to stop the show.
No, it's fine. Hassan Piker, who never ever misses an opportunity to
Thanks, Abby.
To get up there and use his pulpit to grandstand and what have you. Puts out a tweet saying the white supremacist mass shooter in Buffalo was able to stream the killings on Twitch, but don't you dare say cracker, that gets you auto banned.
What a fucking jackass. I mean, seriously, like the bodies aren't even fucking cold yet, dude.
And here's the thing too, right? To me, he's comparing apples and oranges in a little bit of a way. It's one thing for somebody to say,
like, how did? Sorry.
To me, it's one thing to say a racial slur, right? It's a whole nother can of worms if you're going in and creating mass homicides, because they're both come from a racial or prejudiced point or stance, and I don't argue that. But to me, there's a great degree of difference between just saying stuff and then going and shooting 13 people. But
I don't know how you can be so detached emotionally or empathetically or otherwise from reality that the second you see a mass shooting, you immediately make it about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, how much of a selfish piece of shit do you have to be? Oh, you have to be a Sanabi to go onto Twitter, like, oh, mass shooting. Instead of expressing my sympathy, my condolences, or something like that, I'm going to make it about myself.
Well, we have to also keep in mind
true to communist form. Not really giving a shit about anything. They're just numbers on a page.
I don't think
it's... Who gives a shit?
Okay.
Me,
right.
Twitter,
I don't disagree with, but what I'll say this is you have to consider the source, right? This is Hassan Piker. This is the same dude who sat there and told a transgender person to shut up because they didn't know what they were talking about. He knew more about how to defend transgendered people and to protect transgender people's rights than a transgendered person. He said and just here recently, this past week, not only him but Ethan both went after Gideon because
is it Gideon or is it? It is Gideon.
It's Gideon. When Gideon went to the most racist city in America, which is about hour and a half, 2 hours from where I live, Harrison, Arkansas. It is noted as the most racist city in the country. Fortunately, there are some good people that are trying to change that and try to get the city viewed in a little bit different light, because that is kind of it was well deserved for a long time, but like I say, the people in that community are starting to try to I guess change that appearance, because they're not letting that type of mindset just go unchecked anymore. And they're calling people out to have that kind of
calling me skeptical until I see it. I don't know. I think Hassan and Ethan are both fucking idiots, but
100%.
self-righteous, douchebags who only care about the optics. Well, not really. I mean, I guess he doesn't care about optics. He's too stupid to figure out that he made a very optically horrible.
You know, they
Twitter post.
this past Wednesday they talked about Hassan on Willie Wednesdays over on Dead on Dave. He streams on Wednesdays over on YouTube. And Willie Mack, which is a well-respected, well-known content creator here on YouTube, comes on and they discuss different things. So they were discussing this documentary that Gideon did, and the horrible, just brain dead take that Hassan had. And there were some really good points. One of the points was brought up, and I don't know if it was Dave or Willie or exactly who it was on the stream that night, because there were several there. But they made this statement. I think it's a great statement, a great analogy even, is that people, that Hassan needs to be memed to the point like Alex Jones was. Now, Alex Jones is affiliated, or you say Alex Jones, what party is he aligned with? You say, well, he's the right. He's a Republican. He's a right wing.
Not entirely accurate, because he only got labeled that because he shifted into a Trump supporting role during the 2015 election. Before that, people who understood who Alex Jones was understood he really didn't like conservatives. He went after the Bush administration. He became famous for going after the Bush administration.
I understand all that. I'm just saying,
other Republicans. No, I'm giving context for the audience.
I understand. I'm just, from what I said though, is if you ask somebody on the street, do you know who Alex Jones is? Yes. Do you know what party he's affiliated with?
They'd be like, he's alt-right.
He's alt-right. Yeah. Okay. Well, Hassan is definitely, I think, noted to be alt-left, right? And what their analogy of what they said is he needs to be memed on so hard, right, that he is completely discredited as Alex Jones was. Alex Jones was memed on so hard that basically nobody outside of the sphere of people who watch him and subscribe to his service over there on his platform that he created, his website, really listens to him, right? So his
two things about that is, like, Alex Jones, one, there was an active push to remove him off of every platform, including people like Gavin McInnes, Milo Yiannopoulos. There was these people that were immediately blacklisted site basically in the world. And the second thing is I don't think I think for that to work, to have an ounce of shame. I don't think he does. I don't think he has any shame for acting the way he does, or being as much of as unself-aware as he is.
Well,
I think it requires a tremendous amount of shame to be reflective and introspective and change your opinions and beliefs, and
see, here's the
be
thing.
Accountable.
Quite honestly, here's why I don't like talking about Hassan. Because there's just so much to talk about, right? He can. Yeah. But because he is such to me, he is such a laughing stock that, there's just, you start going down the Hassan rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, you're 20 galaxies over, because it's one big wormhole after another, just zooping you away from reality. So
you remember the video I sent you in DMs the other day? I went into because I was really trying to figure out what the far fringe left is about.
Yeah. So
I've been for the past week watching a bunch of hardcore leftist videos. Like, people are into what is it called? What is it where it's non-monogamy, or they're
polygamy?
What's that? No, not it's polyam. They call it polyamory now. That's the new trendy word.
Oh, is that the word they call? Okay. Right.
And then the gender non-binary. So I've basically been going insane trying to figure out what they're talking about. I mean, it's a nightmare. To understand my enemy, to know them very well.
All right, so moving along, Netflix. Okay. I think we've spent enough time on that mess.
That's a nightmare.
Anyway, Netflix made the news this last week. And Netflix tells woke workers to quit if they are offended. Culture memo. All right, now, so you brought this to us this week, so kind of tell us a little bit about this and what this is about.
Sure. It's a very short article. I'll just go ahead and give you the gist. So, in light of internal dissension triggered by productions like Dave Chappelle's controversial special, Netflix basically put a memo out telling its disgruntled employees, "Holy shit, man, you're about to get blown away by that Arkansas weather, huh?"
Yeah, we got a little bit of thunderstorms coming through here, so hopefully I don't lose power.
Here's something, guys. But anyways, so basically he's telling them, underscoring that the streaming behemoth values the artistic expression of its content creators over each employee's personal thoughts, beliefs, and lifestyles. And any worker who doesn't like it can flicks off. As that's really, but I get what they're doing, like just being punny. As employees, we support the principle that Netflix offers a diversity of stories, even if we find some titles counter to our own personal values. Read the memo titled "Netflix Culture Seeking Excellence." Depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you perceive to be harmful. Communique continued. I hope I said that right. If you find it hard to support our content breadth,
communicate.
Oh, okay. Netflix may not be the best place for you. It's like, no shit. That's you being an employee. And then you scroll down and you see these pictures of Pete Rabble-Rousers.
Yeah.
Netflix protest. And because of Chappelle's Netflix special, he during his hour-long Chuckle Fest, Chappelle fired off a string of wisecracks about trans women genitalia, insisted gender is a fact, and deemed. Yeah, he was doing a bit because, like, did you ever watch that special?
I did 100%. Yep, from beginning to end.
He sharing a personal experience with his friend that committed suicide.
Yes, who was transgender.
And there was so much context there to reveal that he wasn't being bigoted or anything like that. He was just telling his own personal story and point of view.
Yeah, and he got emotional when he was talking about his friend because it was that loss was significant to him, right? I mean, it wasn't just wasn't and he went so far as to say
the special, dude, that made me like cry. I'm not even kidding because like I've literally been there. Like I've been so.
And he said she belonged to my tribe of comedians before she belonged to the and
right before she was subsumed by this larger complex of
and and because she stood up for him, she defended his right to make these jokes, right, to make fun. Her own tribe of transgender attacked her and just really hated on her or hated on her. So anyway, but if you haven't watched that stand up, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's one of these things where I question, all these people who are raising, three kinds of Cain, did they ever really watch the video or the
no,
did they watch
never
the special? Probably not. So
also Nerdy John's, I just look at the chat here. Nerdy John says congrats on 140 subs. Thank you, Nerdy John.
Oh yes, we're very happy about that. Yeah. Ms. Abby says I think she's talking to you here, Nerdy. Nerdy. I don't know why you said Nerdy, it got on my damn brain. I think she's talking to you, Anna. Says, if you ever need me to give you spark notes of sexualities and lifestyles, she says
there's a viewer news tab, Miss Abby Blackbird. If you want to give me a diagram and with all the little web connecting, I
work
in yarn. You go ahead. Put those in the viewer news tab.
About 5 years ago, that I changed jobs, in the job that I went to work at. One of my coworkers is gay, and I have been around gay people as far as because I worked at a public school system for about 13, 14 years. Actually, no, I guess it was closer to 50. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And there were gay students that came through, both male and female. So I guess technically lesbians is the proper term. That came through, and so but you can't really sit down and have a conversation or a frank conversation with a student about gay or lesbian issues per se. I feel like that's a little bit that's a bit much. You know what I'm saying?
You really can't, right?
Yeah, it's a bit much. So
don't say gay.
So when I So when I changed jobs, whatever, I had a gay coworker, and he's an older gentleman like myself. He really helped me correct some misunderstandings that I had and stuff. And and that's not to say that I didn't mistreat anybody or anything like that when I say.
Well, before you say that, I just want to like the audience know too. There's a difference between ignorant and bigoted.
Yeah.
Ignorant is just being like, I was never brought up near that culture. I have no idea.
Yes.
Bigoted is knowing better and being an asshole anyway.
Yes, I was ignorant. I was unlearned on the subject of that community, and so he gave me this big thick doc. I mean, it was a fairly large, like 8.5 by 11 booklet that was, we call it stamped, or not stamped, what they call it, stapled up the corner, and it was just like a breakdown of all the different terms and different identities and so on and so forth. And so and the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages of this, maybe more, was all these different identities, And so I'm reading down through this. I'm like, there is no way on God's green earth that I can remember all this shit and keep it straight. There's just no way. There is absolutely no way. So I made a decision right then and there that I had to break myself of a habit that I had. And that habit is to address somebody as yes, sir, or no, sir, yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. Even if it's somebody who's younger than me, right? Or just because I was raised a certain way to be respectful, especially in a business setting, towards to the people that I'm dealing with. Mm. And so what I had to start doing was start addressing people by their name.
Right.
Because then you're safe. And
well, here's the thing about that. It's like there's a level of common sense too that I think goes with that, because I have a story. Actually, it's funny you remind me of a story. The other day, there's this guy I don't like, and he's kind of like a Dwight Schrute kind of guy. The first few months of him being at our work, he pretended to be a supervisor. Then it turns out he was a part-time employee.
Yeah.
And nobody corrected it. And he got away with it. Yeah. Anyways, that's another story for another time. But the other day, he does this obstinate thing that's like he sometimes chooses to be a jackass for no reason and be confident. So a customer came in the other day. Obviously, some kind of like, it was a very butch woman, or it was a man that was male to female.
A trans female.
Yes. And this lady was losing it. She was like, "You're just prejudiced. You're just prejudiced." She's like, I want to speak to a manager and stuff like that. And I was like, "How can I help you, ma'am?" And stuff like that. And anyways, it was a nightmare. And I told him later, I was like, "Why did you keep calling her?" And he's like, "Well, I just couldn't tell." Oh, he's like, "That's obviously." And I'm like, "Dude, you're not that stupid." I'm like, "I get you don't like that, and that's something you don't want to play. You don't want to play that game, but just be polite." Yeah. It's like, why do you want to cause a fucking problem with the customer and then have them lose it and go like have a meltdown on the workroom floor?
Or not even that. Just how about just be decent? If a person wants to identify as a toad frog, what the hell is that to me?
But the thing, like,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could have been 5 and understood that the person, like, okay, so it's obviously like a dude choosing to portray themselves as a woman.
Yeah.
It's like, so just be polite. Even if you don't agree, just fucking say, "Ma'am, yes." It's like, you don't have to be a dick.
No, you
but he couldn't help himself.
Well, that's, he could, he chose not to. There's a difference.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so moving along, this shit. This came out.
We're not getting any traction today. Yeah, we're covering all the bases.
We're covering all the shit that we're not supposed to.
2 white men talk about everything that'll get you banned in a modern environment.
So, the NIH director confirms agency hid early COVID genes at request of Chinese scientists. Now, we have covered this particular topic, and that being COVID,
Yes.
several times on this show.
We've covered just a brief rundown for the audience because I have this autistically archived in my head.
Yeah.
We've covered the lies by Dr. Fauci and the CDC.
Yep.
What else we call the inconsistencies between government agencies and what they purport to know about the virus and like how where it came from and all that stuff, and what was acceptable to say at the time and what was actually out there, specifically covering up for China. But anyways, yeah.
And here's the thing: I'll even give them. When I say them, I'm talking about the health agencies out there. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt as far as the fluctuation and stances on the masks and this and that and so forth. From the standpoint of when the pandemic broke out 2 years ago, they really didn't know what they were dealing with. And as more data became available, their plan of defense would change. It's nothing different from like a battlefield in a military, as your
Not
opponent.
entirely true.
Okay. Your opponents are going to shift, and you're going to shift to their shift, and so there's some, because
they actively lied about a few key things.
They did. I'm not arguing that, but I'm talking about with Dr. Fauci initially saying, "Oh, you don't need masks." And then them saying, okay, you need masks. And it's not even a bad idea to have double mask if you don't have the NH5 or whatever it was. I don't know. I lost track of all the damn words and shit. So I'll give them a little bit of doubt. The problem with this is this.
Okay.
The national, and I'm going to read straight from this article here. It says the National Institutes of Health Acting Director Lawrence Tabak confirmed to lawmakers Wednesday that U.S. health officials concealed early genomic sequences of COVID at the result of the Chinese scientists, but insists that the data remains on file. Tabak told the House Appropriations Subcommittee that the NIH eliminated from public view the data from the pandemic epicenter in Wuhan, China, before adding that researchers.
Is that Hawaii?
Wahoo! Adding that researchers can still access it via archaic tape drive. Let me tell you something. I'm an IT person, and I have been for 30 some odd years. Go off, King. No, it's not. And here's why it's not.
No, I said go off, King.
This statement right here, archaic tape drive, that is very problematic. That's huge problematic. Here's why it's huge problematic. Because tape medium, as far as a storage medium, is highly volatile. It degrades. It will break. It can be degoused, which means if it's degoused, it loses all the data that's on there. Okay. Saying that they have it backed up to an archaic tape drive is scary for me.
It's like, oh, we put it on toilet paper and we left it in a damp closet.
But the bottom line is once again, agencies within our government covered up and shit, trying to protect China. Why that is, I don't know.
Oh, but I want to, no, hold on. We're not done with that article.
Oh, we're not done. Okay.
No, we're not done with that article. Okay. Let me go through this. So down, if you scroll down past the picture of the armed Chinese officers, is this in China, Wuhan? I hope that's Wuhan. Right under that. Okay, cool. So the information is still there, Butler summed up. That's correct. The information was never lost. In a March 31st article, Vanity Fair reported that evolution biologist Bloom discovered last year that early COVID-19 sequences had disappeared from a federally run data repository. When Bloom raised the issue, he was reportedly ganged up on by a group of researchers assembled by then NIH Director Francis Collins and Infectious Disease Institute Anthony Fauci. Mm-hmm. Bloom shared a draft academic paper with Collins and Fauci, who allegedly objected on a Zoom video conference to Bloom's description of Chinese scientists surreptitiously removing the sequences. Fauci said the word was loaded and implied a cover-up. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Evolutionary biologist Christian Anderson, who was selected to participate on the call by Collins, allegedly told Bloom right to claw back early pandemic information and that it was unethical for Bloom to question it.
Okay, you kind of cut out a little bit there, so let me reread that statement because you're having some internet issues. It says evolutionary biologist Christian Anderson, who was selected to participate on the call by Collins, allegedly told Bloom that the Wuhan team had a right to claw back early pandemic information and that it was unethical for Bloom to question it.
And then if you scroll under the next picture, Riveter,
Yep.
it says China's government has refused to cooperate with an international investigation of the origins of the pandemic. The COVID-19 virus has killed about 1 million Americans since March 2020 and caused massive social, economic, and educational disruptions. The U.S. intelligence agency says in August reports it's possible the virus leaked from Wuhan institution via calling one of the two plausible explanations transition from animals.
Yeah.
And here it is. The Biden administration is considering undoing some of these goods separately from U.S. pressure for coronavirus transparency. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told the Post on Monday, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Okay.
Do that.
You cut out again, so let me read that again for the. It says the Biden administration is considering undoing some of the Trump's tariffs on Chinese goods separately from U.S. pressure for coronavirus transparency. While White House Secretary Jen Psaki told the Post on Monday. So, there you go.
I'm gonna lose my goddamn fucking mind. I hate AT&T. Why do you pay so much money for internet when it just doesn't fucking work? I'm gonna lose it.
Well, because
here's me on the phone with AT&T. You
that good, huh? That good. All right. So, bottom line was there was information out there. There was data showing that it originated from Wuhan. There were people within the U.S. government who took a stance that basically the Chinese government should be allowed to cover all this stuff up and to be able to refute, that it originated in Wuhan. And anyway, so no, at this point in time, I don't know. I don't know where to go with it, but I mean, they lied, so.
Yeah. More of the fucking same. And my internet's dying again, conveniently during the fucking show like it always does.
Well.
Lose it.
All right. Well, we'll muddle through it.
All right.
So now to get into the heart or the focus of today's show. Back in, when was it? November. Actually, around my birthday last year, we brought you a story about this father. This father's name was Scott Smith. Now, Scott Smith had a early teen daughter who was brutally sexually assaulted in the girls' restroom. She was assaulted by this young man, by all accounts that we were able to find at the time. According to his mother, was questioning his identity. And there were times when he liked to dress in female clothes. And I'm using he because the mother was adamant that he was not transgendered. So, anyway, do not have this young man's name because they are a minor and I'm not putting that stuff out there.
Yeah, and just to recap for the audience, not only was he convicted of doing the thing with, sexually assaulting a young woman.
Yeah.
But even when he had a second offense during his trial.
Well,
when they moved him to another school.
What happened was he was moved to another school, and he assaulted another young lady as well there.
And not only that, the school covered up the fact that it even happened because it was to cover their bases with their ideological bias. So they didn't want to cause some kind of international panic about transgender people when that was a fucking red herring to begin with. It had nothing to do with that.
Yes.
What it had to do with was the local school board and their faculty members unable to deal with the problem by talking to students and parents about things like gender, as simple as gender, things you should be able to talk to kids about, without having this fucking muddy waters of, I have to protect my job. Instead of doing the right thing and having people monitor children and make sure that they're safe in their own fucking school environment, the school covered up the fact that they couldn't do that. They couldn't take care of these kids. They couldn't protect these kids.
Yeah.
And so the parents justifiably were a little pissed off.
Just a little
Shocker.
So the school district committed several criminal acts in this because this was in Loudoun County, and in that state, they had as a law on the books for the state was schools were required to report all criminal activity. Right. So, say you had two students that got into a fist fight, and those two students were charged with assault and battery. Well, they have to report that. They have to report it to the state board of education or whatever. And so it wasn't just those two cases involving the same student assaulting these young ladies. There were some other incidences as well that they had not reported.
Yes, there were.
Okay. So there was...
And also...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we also covered the fact that that Ted Cruz had basically questioned the Attorney General about the am I jumping the gun? I apologize.
A little bit. You're jumping the gun just a little bit.
Okay, I apologize. You take it away.
But anyway, so at the time, we questioned, when we were covering this story and everything, we bring this up here on the screen and I don't get you necessarily jumping it too quick. This gentleman here that you're seeing on your screen right now, his name is, what the hell's his name?
Big dipshit. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, big dipshit. Let me see here. Merrick Garland. I'm sorry. Merrick Garland is his name. And Merrick Garland is an attorney general. Okay, he's the AG. He's the AG for the United States. And he was brought, and this is what what you're seeing. This is from a YouTube clip.
Now, the audience may be asking, why are we talking about Ted Cruz and the Attorney General? I thought we were talking about a school district in Loudoun County. Au contraire, mon frere. It's all connected.
It's all connected. And at the time, because we're giving you guys context, we're going to let you know, we have been covering this. We have been doing this since November of last year.
Yup.
This is a follow-up. This is an expansion of the storyline. And we have a lot of new viewers, and so they may not be aware of this story. So we're kind of giving you a little bit of a TLDR as much as we can on this.
And look, we're not trying to make a political whatever, like who cares? I don't care what you believe. What I focus on whenever I talk about politics is the fucked up shit that's happening under our noses while other things are being, propped up in the media. So like, for instance, we have a guy in office who seemingly is running a vacant presidency. And now these people, these authoritarians, these people who are going to take advantage of this weak presidency to enact some kind of totalitarian state by doing what they want, i.e. including, using the Patriot Act to investigate fucking parents.
And that's what we're going to get into. That's what the heart of our story is today. So this was a Senate subcommittee that was held back in October of last year. And I'm going to let you guys listen to a little bit of a snippet between Senator Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a senator from the state of Texas. And again, this is Merrick, the AG for the United States here. So listen to this discourse.
Be different. I asked you specifically, quote, will you commit to this committee that under your leadership, the Department of Justice will not target the political opponents of this administration? Here was your answer, quote, Absolutely. It's totally inappropriate for the department to target any individual because of their politics or their position in a campaign. That was your promise just a few months ago. I'm sorry to say you have broken that promise. There is a difference between law and politics. And General Garland, you know the difference between law and politics. Law is based on facts. It is impartial. It is not used as a tool of political retribution. This memo was not law. This memo was politics.
Now, that memo, guys, that he's talking about is this memo right here. Let me bring this up on the screen. This is the memo.
Can we let the video play a little longer just for more context? I apologize. I think it's worth it though, because
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, September 29th, the National School Board Association wrote a letter to the president asking the president to use the Department of Justice to target parents that were upset at critical race theory, that were upset at mask mandates in schools, to target them as domestic terrorists. On the face of the letter was in repeated consultation with the White House, in explicit political consultation with the White House. That was on Wednesday, September 29th. 5 days later, on Monday, so right after the weekend, boom, you pop out a memo, giving them exactly what they want.
All right, now we'll take a look at that memo.
Yeah.
So here's what the memo says, guys. This is from the Attorney General. Okay, this is his signatures right here. Okay, this is October the 4th, 2021, and this here says, this is it's for the Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Director of Executive Office for U.S. Attorney's Assistants, Attorney General,
The FBI,
the Criminal Division, United States Attorneys. And here's what it says. In recent months, there has been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff who participate in the vital work of running our nation's public schools. While spirited debate about policy matters is protected under our Constitution, that protection does not extend to threats of violence or efforts to intimidate individuals based on their views. Threats against public servants are not only illegal, they run counter to our nation's core values. These who dedicate their time and energy to ensuring that our children receive a proper education in a safe environment deserve to be able to do their work without fear for their safety. The department takes these incidents seriously and is committed to using its authority and resources to discourage these threats, identify them when they occur, and prosecute them when appropriate. In the coming days, the department will announce a series of measures designed to address the rise in criminal conduct directed towards school personnel. And he goes on with some other yada yada yada.
Yeah, the gist of that memorandum is this was sent by a select few of people within the school district to ask on behalf of the Attorney General for them to investigate some of these parents, citing that there was some kind of violent crimes to support their claim. Now, in Ted Cruz goes on. I don't really want to rehash the entirety of the show, but just to give the audience a little bit of a contextual, understanding of what's going on here, is that there was only like five instances of what could be considered violent behavior by parents, and none of them were any way remotely close to actual, like threatening to kill somebody. And maybe that was one time, and that might have been Scott Smith or something, because
Well, he didn't threaten anybody. He was what it was. And guys, let me just do this here. Share copy.
But the point I'm making is it's not indicative of the. It's not indicative of like a severe problem with like some kind of terrorist organization rising up through parents in the school system. I mean, that's absurd.
The link that I just shared there in chat, guys, is to our original podcast covering this back in November of last year. Now, I'm going to share with you guys a brief little segment of that podcast. And our views, our stances, our positions have not changed. if anything, it's probably been vindicated what we said.
I told you so. I specifically said, I pointed out that they were going to use the Patriot Act. I said, these motherfuckers, I'm like, watch. I called the shot.
So here's a segment from our previous podcast. A letter that the School Board Association wrote. But they classified, they labeled these parents who are showing up as terrorists to these board meetings, who were vocally saying, hey, we don't agree with these policies. We don't agree with what you're trying to implement here. They were voicing objection to what it was that was being said.
You can see me getting madder.
Okay.
Terrorists.
And they labeled them as terrorists. And so by doing so...
Well, you going to put them in Gitmo? You're going to put parents in Gitmo for voicing concerns over their children? You fucking psychopaths.
Okay. And
Jesus Christ.
So what then happens is we now have a Senate hearing. Okay. Good. And in the Senate hearing, we have this gentleman right here that you see.
Listen very carefully, audience. This part's important.
Okay. Here's something else.
Freedoms.
Here's something else to keep in mind. This gentleman right here that you're seeing on your screen was originally nominated to be a Supreme Court
I think this is where
justice.
we just picked up. Oh, Leaf.
Yeah.
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 But
so
yeah, pretty much same.
Yeah, so he's not just AG, guys. This guy was actually up on to be a Supreme Court judge.
That's holy fucking shit.
Yeah, and he's okay. He's 100% okay.
He's totally copacetic. Let's finish out that video just a few more minutes, because I think there's something really important. I don't know why I keep thinking that there's more there that I just want to make sure.
Well, he brings up, Ted Cruz goes on to bring up the incident with Mr. Scott. It specifically draws his attention to that. Okay. Yeah. And calls him and calls the AG down on the carpet about how dare you label these parents who are standing up to stand up. I want to thank
where he yells at him is like the best part of that.
Let me see here. I believe here is
the beginning of the show, the cold opening.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, here's this here was what we used as our cold opening for the show that day, and this was just a snippet. So and I think this is probably more what you're remembering, Banana.
Testified you know nothing about the violent sexual assault that happened in Loudoun County, even though it's one of the bases in this letter. The court concluded that a 14-year-old girl was violently raped by a boy wearing a skirt in the girls' restroom.
14-year-old boy allegedly sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl at Stonebridge High School in Ashburn, according to the local sheriff's office. The victim's family said the assault happened in the girls' bathroom.
The school district covered it up.
State data shows LCPS has not reported any sex crimes for years at either Stonebridge or Broad Run.
Released the boy, sent him to another school.
On October 6th, deputies said another girl was sexually assaulted at Broad Run High School.
Happened again, you fucking idiots.
The Loudoun Commonwealth's attorney revealed Friday the suspect in that case is the same boy who is suspected of assaulting the girl at
I'm gonna pause it for a second. Let me back it up.
That attorney.
This bitch here. This bitch here.
It's her fault. Yeah.
No, not only that. Remember, Banana, she showed up to the arraignment of Mr. Scott, the father, who got arrested.
Yeah.
Right.
Saying that the judge should be more severe with the punishment.
Yes. Now this is the attorney. This here is the prosecuting attorney. Right. This is the head lawyer for the state. Okay. Yeah. So she didn't send some. I don't want to use the term lackey, but she didn't send some subordinate over to. She herself. She felt it was so important that she go to this father's arraignment and really do her best to throw the book at him.
Oh my God!
Of assaulting the girl at Stonebridge in May.
Do you understand why a parent would be upset when your daughter is raped at school, the school board covers it up, and then lies to you and claims there have been no assaults, we have no instances of assaults in our bathroom, and that was a flat-out lie, as the court concluded this week.
That's the father, by the way.
That's the father there. And the whole thing was he was the father was having another conversation with another person there in the meeting that night.
And then
And
that fucking officer put his hands on him first.
Yes, and I have no doubt in my mind that the father was probably getting loud, was probably even agitated. I have no doubt in my mind. He may have even been cussing the person. It's very well possible. Okay,
that's still within your rights as a citizen to be inside of
100%. 100%. That is
still, as long as you're not being violent.
Public, exactly. Here's a little known folk.
I got to take a piss. Yeah.
The Supreme Court has ruled that a person can use vulgar language in a public setting, and they're not breaking the law.
This letter calls him a domestic terrorist. You based a direction to the FBI, an official direction from the Attorney General, on this letter. And I'll tell you what, the NSBA is so embarrassed of this letter, they've apologized for it and retracted it, but you don't apparently have the same willingness to apologize and retract what you did.
Yeah, that's what happened back in October. The original letter was sent by the National School Board Association to the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Joe Biden turned around and sent it to the AG. The AG put out a memorandum. This was back in October. That's when they had September. That's when they had the hearings were in October. Ted Cruz took him to the cleaners about it, took him to task about what he did. In November, it started hitting the press. We covered it here on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Now, this happened. This came out this week. This is an article from the New York Post. It says Republicans say FBI used anti-terror tools to target outspoken parents. You don't say. Okay.
What anti-terror tools?
Okay. So House Republicans say they have evidence from FBI whistleblowers that the Bureau used anti-terrorism tools to investigate parents who were critical of school boards' COVID-19 policies, despite assurances from Attorney General Merrick Garland to lawmakers that such probes would not be conducted. He testified before Senate saying, no, this is not going to happen. That's not what's going to happen. In sworn testimony before this committee, you denied the Department of Justice or its components were using counterterrorism statutes, aka the Patriot Act.
Oh, and pop quiz for the audience. Here we go, guys. History lesson. Who can tell me in the chat, what is the Patriot Act and why did Edward Snowden get in so much trouble with the Obama administration? If you hear something, say something. Yeah. Did. Edward Snowden did. If you can tell me in the chat, we'll revisit that in a minute.
Okay, so anyway, in sworn testimony for this committee, you denied that the Department of Justice or its components were using counterterrorism statutes and resources to target parents at school board meetings. Rep. Jim Jordan, the ranking Republican on the House Judiciary Committee, wrote to Garland on Wednesday. Jordan, a Republican from Ohio, said that the FBI's counterterrorism division created a threat tag to track investigations into parents who spoke at school boards in opposition to vaccine and mask mandates, even though they were exercising their First Amendment right to speech. The Ohio congressman said that the use of threat tag followed a controversial memo the Justice Department released on October 4th, 2021, in response to the National School Board Association appeal to use counterterrorism tools, including the Patriot Act, to target parents at school board meetings. Now,
all right, now we have some winners in the chat. Nerdy John, Mrs. Abby Blackbirds, congratulations. You have won today's pop quiz. Now, here's the thing about the Patriot Act. Post-2001, 9/11 America, in order to combat terrorism abroad, foreign, and domestic, we had to take away the rights and freedoms of the American people. And with the Patriot Act, we had backdoors to everyone's data and personal information that could be subpoenaed at any time by the U.S. government and taken away from you via your internet service provider. Not only that, if you were labeled a terrorist as a domestic citizen of the United States or foreign, whatever, non-citizen, you can be detained by the United States government indefinitely at any time if you are labeled a terrorist without a specific date for trial. Isn't that fun?
So anyway, so Jim Jordan put out this this tweet with these, and the tweet contained this memorandum that he sent to the AG, Merrick Garland. He says, "Dear Attorney General Garland, in sworn testimony for this committee, you denied the Department of Justice or its components were using counterterrorism." Okay, so that's just a repeat of basically.
So to wrap that up, I'm sorry, I have to finish. I think I left out something important. Just to emphasize my point. Your data doesn't belong to you. You don't own it. The U.S. government and your internet service provider owns it. You do not have access to that, and you can't. If they want it, they can subpoena it away.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But in this memorandum, he says on October 4th, 2021, in response to a request from the National School Board Association, the federal government used counterterrorism tools, including the Patriot Act, to target parents. At school board meetings, you issued a memorandum directing the FBI to address these threats. The press release accompanying your memorandum highlighted the FBI's National Threat Operations Center to serve as a snitch line for tips about parents at school board meetings. By October 20th, the FBI had operationalized your directive. In an FBI-wide email, the FBI's Counterterrorism Division and Criminal Division has announced the creation of a new threat tag, EDU officials, and directed all FBI personnel to apply it to school board-related threats.
Joy.
Says we have learned from brave whistleblowers that the FBI has opened investigations with the EDU officials threat tag in almost every region of the country. And relating to all types of educational settings, the information we have received shows how, as a direct result of your directive, federal law enforcement is using counterterrorism resources to investigate protected First Amendment activity. For example, in one investigation began following your directive, the FBI's field office interviewed a mom for allegedly telling a school board, "We are coming for you." The complainant, which came to the FBI through the National Threat Operations Center snitch line, alleged that the mom was a threat because she belonged to a right-wing moms group known as the Moms for Liberty, and because she was a gun owner.
Holy fucking shit! You can hear how weak like the people are. That, oh my god, she has a gun, therefore terrorist. And then, like, I just in my mind immediately thought, like, oh, season 9 of 24, Jack Bauer sets up a CTU organization, the parent division. You know, it's like what you see Jack Bauer pistol whipping a fucking mom with her soccer mom in her minivan. Like, where are the codes?
So when the FBI agent interviewed the mom, she told the agent that she was upset about the school board's mask mandates and that her statement was a warning that her organization would seek to replace the school board with new members through the electoral process. So let's take a look at who is this mom?
Who are the mom?
Who are the Moms of Liberty, or Moms for Liberty, excuse me? Well, it says children should be educated and instructed in the principles of freedom. John Adams. So they quote John Adams there.
Controversial take.
It says we are moms, dads, grands, aunts, uncles, and friends. Moms for Liberty welcomes all that have a desire to stand up for parental rights at all levels of government. It says our founders are Tiffany and Tina, moms on a mission to stoke, not stoke the fires of liberty. Come on now.
God forbid.
As former school board members, they witnessed how short-sighted and destructive policies directly hurt children and families. Now they're using their firsthand knowledge and experience to unite parents who are ready to fight those that stand in the way of liberty. And our mission, their mission here is Moms for Liberty is dedicated in fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. And they say, how do we fight? They hold leaders accountable. They spread awareness. They oppose government overreach. They promote liberty. They engage on key issues and activate to public services.
Weird, because by reading that, I wouldn't like it doesn't say anywhere on there that they arm civilians with AR-15s or M16s and have them raid school board members' houses. Is there any acts of violence listed in their How We Fight section?
No.
I didn't think I saw any.
No, they don't have none of that.
Oh,
And,
so they're not. Oh, so these are terrorists. Okay, these
yeah,
are terrorists.
these are terrorists. These are 100% terrorists.
Okay.
They sure are.
Domestic terrorist group,
Don't
not
they look-
Antifa, who burned down the whole fucking country last year. But we'll table that for another time.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
got it.
anyway,
Understood.
Now here's the thing. I don't want to be dismissive here. I don't. There's no doubt in my mind, absolutely zero doubt in my mind, that there are not some parents. Because again, I want to remind you, I worked at a public school.
Oh, there's probably some wacky conservative kookies out there. Yeah.
For over a decade. Nerdy John, the worst types of terrorist, gingers.
He's right. He is right.
Nerdy.
Have you ever seen Ginger Heat? Have you ever seen Copper Cab? I mean, my God, they must be stopped. They're amassing an army.
Exactly. So anyway, I worked at a public school for, like I say, over a decade. And there were times parents would get extremely upset. They would make statements, of threatening, violence. I heard them threaten to assault principals, superintendents.
I'll beat your ass.
Okay, that happened. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no. There are parents who lose all composure, and their logic and reasoning goes out the window because they go hyper mode when it involves their kids.
Yeah.
So
they get real protective and shit.
Yeah, they get
shocker.
Exactly. And so there's no doubt in my mind that there were probably times when parents stepped over the line and said things that they should not say to these elected officials. However, but taking a statement saying we're coming for you as an act of violence when they're referencing they're going to remove them from elected position by electing somebody else in position, and the fact that they actually own a gun. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that probably more people in the United States has a gun at home than that does not have a gun at home. So
all my homies own AR-15s.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nerdy says it's okay because he's half ginger, so he has the gender pass. Hasaki's. I'm sorry.
High as a kite. Jesus, God in heaven.
I never was for sure how you pronounce that. Thanks.
Hayasaki.
Hayasaki. Thanks for that. I don't know about looking good, but I'm above ground, so we'll call it a good day. Parents aren't being cool cats and kittens. No, Miss Abby, some of them do not. They're not cool cats or kittens.
I mean, just because, sure, Aunt Tina is a fucking, she's into Tina 40 and Make America Great Again, or America First.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, that's. So the very thing that we told you guys back in November, when we first covered that, has come to fruition. It's not because we wanted to. It's not like we were like, oh, we want this to happen. No, we were just the opposite. We did not want this to happen. We did not want a broad overreach of what this, and abuse of government power.
But this is the thing, because people will say, "Oh, you're a fucking tinfoil hat."
Yeah. Oh, well,
you actually think they're going to use the Patriot Act? It's like you absolute dickhead. Look, why would you put that kind of thing in law if you weren't going to use it?
The thing of it is, and I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to paint a broad stroke on this, but I'll just say this. In the time that I worked in public school, I cannot tell you how many times I heard this type of statement from administration. And when I say administration, I'm talking about superintendents, principals. I heard it from teaching staff that they basically had this mindset that because parents were not educators, that they were essentially too dumb to understand.
Oh, that's some commie bullshit. Yeah,
You
no.
know, and that they just needed to let them teach and not question their methods of doing it.
Yeah,
Now
fuck
that's
that.
not
I'm gonna
that's,
question every step of the way.
that's not all teachers, okay? That's not all that's not all administrators, whatever. But I did hear that, and I did hear it numerous times. Looks like we have a caller. Do you want to talk to Nerdy today?
I do. Let's bring him in. Welcome to the show, Nerdy John. You're on the air.
Hello.
Don't you screw this shit up.
Congrats on your. Did you hit 1,000 yet?
No, not yet. But hopefully by the end of the month, you know. I believe, but to relate to the topic a bit, I believe there's a quote by FDR saying, "Those who give up liberty for safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." I think I'm paraphrasing a bit there, but
No. Yeah, it's a good quote.
yeah,
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So.
yeah, because my parents, my mom is a banker, so she has to deal with the Patriot Act a lot.
Yeah.
So
Or like closed accounts and shit.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
getting them like, hey, we need to look at this person's finances. By the way, don't tell them.
Well, plus two, it's mandatory for them to do like a once a year thing to make sure that they know all how the Patriot Act relates to their job.
My God.
And like I've always heard them keep justifying it, the Patriot Act as well. It was very scary time for America, you know, because I was born post 9/11.
That bullshit. Like that's sorry to cut you off, but that is the most annoying thing about this. It's like because there was this collective fear because there's never like these people like nobody's seen an attack on American soil like anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone immediately gave in to like this groupthink and was like, well, anything to protect the country, anything to ensure national security. And so like I made the 24 joke earlier about Jack Bauer and the counterterrorist organization, but it's not like all that off from. Like go back and watch that show and like the people during that time that was a post 9/11 show, and so you see stuff like him like they're like oh he'll do anything to get the information to save America stuff like that, and they're like it's absurd, but like the amount of sacrifices the American public made to their freedoms after that time, man, it was such a poor decision in hindsight.
Let's not forget, guys, that this is the same administration, the Biden administration, that originally proposed that
it's not just the Biden administration.
No, I'm talking about on this particular the Biden administration.
The Bushes, but I know, but I'm saying I'm giving a broader cultural context for the audience so they don't think we're just fucking neocon.
No, the Patriot Act came into play underneath George W. Bush. Yeah.
And then Obama. Oh, see you later, Nerdy John.
Yeah,
that was a weird disconnect. But and then Obama famously never saw a drone strike he didn't enjoy on civilian targets. And he exiled what's his name? I just said his name, Edward Snowden, for coming out and blowing the whistle on some of the surveillance programs they were doing, like the Patriot Act, stuff like that. And what was really going on with your ISP and how they were getting how they were spying on the public, and he got labeled a traitor. So it's like I don't know. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It's a government thing.
Yeah. Well, don't forget what I was going to say is the Biden administration just earlier this year proposed a IRS law that anybody who made any kind of deposits that were in excess of $600, that the banks were going to have to notify the IRS that you received that money.
That's fucking crazy.
Now they did back off of that, and what they changed it to now, it hasn't. And I don't believe that this has actually been implemented yet. But what they backed off from 600 and they changed it to $10,000 in annual transactions. Okay. Now the problem with that though is most people in annual transactions you're going to receive more than $10,000, right? Because your paycheck, right? Your paychecks, which will be deposited into your account. Most people's pay is probably going to exceed more than $10,000, unless Unless maybe you're a part-time, employees, or something like that, then you might.
No, we got a nickel and dime those consumer, people who make under 40K a year. If God forbid they miss a penny on their taxes, they'll owe like $2,000 of back taxes.
Yeah.
Somehow, they got. I mean, the house always wins. Like that's why. Like, why do you think cryptocurrency became so popular? People trying to privatize their finances, take power away from the banks. They already fucked that up, by the way. So that's over. But I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, because there's such this grand overreach by institutional money and governments who are now, obviously they're hand in hand. Like, they have the ability to shut off your bank account, shut off your social media accounts. It's if you get labeled a terrorist. Like, for instance, what's his name? Nick. I always fuck this guy's name up. It's the American Fuentes.
Fuentes, yeah.
Now he's fucking crazy and he's a racist and he's insane.
Yes.
However, they made that guy a fucking public enemy number one, and he's just a dipshit. It's like, so they shut down his accounts. They shut down Alex Jones' bank accounts too.
Yeah.
He's on no-fly lists and shit. It's like, my God.
I need to correct something. So if $10,000, but they're saying that anything that you receive, like say a paycheck or something like that, where federal taxes are automatically deducted, that's not subjected to reporting. So it would basically be anything outside of your paychecks if it exceeded more than 10,000. But again, like I said, that has not been made into law yet, but it's proposed. So
I'm not trying to be like a super hardcore doomer when it comes to this shit, but I don't know how much more the noose could tighten. Seriously, like I really don't.
I have accused you in the past of kind of being a little bit tinfoily.
I am. Times. It's a good accusation.
But in this situation, Banana, I don't think that you're necessarily being too tinfoily. I really don't. I think.
Oh, here's a good statistic. High as a Kite says, according to the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, for instance, U.S. strikes in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, and Yemen from 2002 to 2020 killed between 10K and 17K people. 800 and 1.7K are civilians. Oh, and by the way, if you think it ends here, guys, the Biden administration, go look up the war in Yemen.
Yeah.
The largest humanitarian crisis to happen in the modern age, I think, is what they're calling it. Journalists are calling it. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a, weighty accusation, but we are funding a proxy war on behalf of Saudi Arabia against the Yemen people, and they're just fucking carpet bombing that place, not with disregard to civilian casualties. But I mean, like I said, I don't want to be too much of a doomer, and I am a tinfoil. But I mean, I don't know. There's like, and I'm not like, it's not even like I'm tinfoil to the point. I understand that there's some things the American people don't need to know because that they're like Elon Musk said in his tweet whenever he was called out for helping the Ukrainian people with the Starlink satellites. He said there are no angels and more. And it's like, I understand that as a civilian, like some things don't need to be known by the public, but some things kind of like, I don't know, maybe whenever you like, what Machiavellian game are you playing that requires the death of about 1.7K civilians with drone strikes? What kind of game are you playing that we need to fund a Saudi proxy war where they carpet bomb civilian territories? Like, I don't know. It's maybe I'm just too much of a normie to understand that, the darkness that's inherent within war and strategy. Is it necessary? I don't fucking know. I'm a civilian. But I think the American public should know a little bit about what's going on. And if there's a good explanation as to why we're doing those things, maybe we should be told it by our betters. You think that's a little reasonable or unreasonable? I don't know.
I don't think it's unreasonable. I just think that, well,
it's the cost of in the fog of war. Yeah. So it's not like I'm naive enough to believe like, oh, like everything should be done above the table and there should be like, we should be the good guys. It's like, no, like there are things that are called for that I imagine that are darker than anything I could ever have to deal with. So I get it. I'm going to be critical. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but there needs to be people like me. So,
yeah.
Just like there need to be people that support the system.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I don't think I have anything else to say today, Banana. I think this is this has zapped me.
I'm exhausted.
Mentally and physically. I hope that America as a whole wakes up and comes out of the slumber that the citizens seems to be, the citizenry of America seems to be in, and quit just blindly believing our leadership just because they say, "Hey, this is good for you. Take this, do this."
Yeah, take your pills, idiot.
Yeah, it's we need to start asking some questions. I'm not calling for any way. Am I trying to say we need to overthrow? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is
No way are we saying that.
we just say question. Just start asking some questions, saying why.
Look into it yourself.
Why? Yes, I'm looking into it.
Don't take our stupid words. I'm probably wrong about like 95% of the things I say. So like, go look it up yourself. I'm showing you stuff, man.
And if you're 99, then I've got to be at least 100. So,
well, I think on a positive note, we can shout out one of our buddies, Matt Pitt and Toxic Piplup and Beavers Eat Woods, friends of ours from the SFTP network, have started a podcast on toxic. Let's see, toxic Toxic Piplup.
Okay, cool.
Piplup. His channel. You go to that. We'll have to link it. I'll link it in the video afterwards. But they started a podcast, and y'all should go check that out.
Since we're in the shout out mode here, also another friend of ours, Dead on Dave. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show he has a weekly thing with Willie Mac on Wednesdays called Willie Wednesdays. He started now where he's also going to have a show on Tuesdays and he has two more shows that he's expanding. One of them's going to be on Tuesday, the other one's going to be on Thursday, and I'm not for sure which one is which, but one of the nights he's going to have Nicholas DiOrio, and then on the other night it's going to be Matt Pitt. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 nights there in a row. If you want some good quality entertainment, go check out Dead on Dave's YouTube channel. Let's see here if I can get that right quick. I'll put the link in it.
You need a mod, by the way.
We have mods, but they ain't here today. So whatever.
Wednesdays, Baltimore.
They're busy.
Massachusetts. Maryland. Wait, Baltimore's Maryland.
There's Dead on Dave's link to his YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to it, Nerdy John, who made a quick stage right exit earlier, he was on Wednesdays. He is doing the editor role over there for Dave.
He's doing great.
Yeah, Nerdy really John is really networking and growing and stuff. And honestly,
good for him.
I wished I had the energy and enthusiasm that he does.
Man's in college too.
Yeah, he just finished up his second semester of college, but he's definitely growing. See, while we're at it, I will throw his channel out there. Matter of fact, he just released a video talking about that name that shall not be mentioned, Hassan. He just put a video out there on Hassan. Anyway, check that out. He's like I say, he's doing real well. In some I don't know if you saw this yet or not, but let's go ahead and we'll kind of let's take a look at this. I don't know if you've seen this video yet or not, but this is a video that Tommy just put out. I haven't watched it either, so we'll watch this blind, but it says the title of the video is Out Indefinitely Sorry. Have you seen this? Have you seen this, Banana?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it this morning.
Okay. Well, I haven't watched it, so.
Hey, I don't know if you heard, but I'm going to be out for a while, indefinitely. I've had a reinflammation of my diverticulitis. I'm also going to, on Monday, which is about a little more than, I guess, 12 hours from now, I'll be getting big news on my blood pressure issue. If you all remember, I had a reinflammation in September, and that's how we discovered my blood pressure issue. I don't expect the news to be bad, or even life-changing for that matter. But there is always that possibility, I suppose. I skipped the creator content or the creator fights. I really didn't want to. I been planning to do a long stream on it and everything, and I needed to. I'll be perfectly honest with you, but I don't know if I've had noticed, but I stopped uploading to the second channel. I have had an energy issue. It might be related to diverticulitis.
Okay,
kind of
we can
onset.
pause it there and then direct them to his channel so they can watch the rest of that video. Tommy will explain to you what's exactly going on.
Let me get you the
I want to play the whole video.
Yeah, get a link to Tommy's channel.
Yeah, here's hoping something serious. Thoughts and prayers to you, dude. I don't say that lightly. I fucking hate when people say that, but honestly, it sucks.
My mom has diverticulitis. It is a very debilitating condition, I guess would be the right way to put it. And my mom has to be extremely careful in what she eats, and because and I don't want to get into all the medical what happens and so on and so forth, whatever, but
right.
But anyway, it is very debilitating. It is, when it flares up, it's extremely painful. And it does. I have no doubt in my mind at all. The reason why he has no energy is because it's flared up again. So anyway, yeah, I hope Tommy, I'm a few years older than Tommy, about 10 or so, I think. But he, and I've started taking some steps to, where I'm eating healthier, I'm exercising. It's a pain in the ass. I hate doing it. I'm not gonna lie. I hate doing it.
It sucks.
It sucks, but I've lost weight. I'm feeling better. My joints aren't hurting me as much. I have more energy.
Good for you, man.
Some days I don't. But this is a process, just like anything else you have in your life, when you're doing something new, right? And I do. And
have you tried meal replace? Sorry, I'm curious. Have you tried like meal replacement shakes?
No. What I've done is I've cut out basically anything that's processed. So I've cut out sugar, breads, anything that's processed. I do not eat. So it's lean, like chicken breast. It's fish fillets. It's occasionally I will have pork, but it has to be lean pork, like say like a pork loin or something like that, or a pork chop. No red meat. Red meat's out the window. I don't have red meat anymore.
I was just gonna say that Jonathan is the company he works for called First Form. Yeah. They have a meal replacement shake that's like really tasty. And it's called Level 1, and there's a bunch of different flavors.
Yeah.
But I use that for a bit and helped me lose quite a bit. I replaced one meal with it.
Do you? And I'm, like I said, that might be something, but me just changing my eating as far as cutting way back on my portions, cutting all that stuff out, I've already dropped like 30 something pounds. So,
dude, congrats.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point now where if I lose much more, I'm going to start putting holes in my belt, which is good because I've had that belt probably for almost 20 years, and I've never had to put a belt in, loops or holes in it. So, I am proud of what I've gotten so far. I've got a tremendous amount of distance still to go. but it's it's just what you have. It's what I'm having to do, and I should have done it years and years and years ago, but I didn't. And so I say all that to say this is I hope that Tommy takes this seriously, and I hope that he takes the steps that his doctors tell him to do, because that's what I had to do. Is I finally had to listen to my doctors and do what I don't know. Like I said, I don't know all of his issues or whatever, and it's none of my business. Don't want to know. But
You just wish him well.
I just wish him well. I do, and right now my
All the
goal
best.
is I want to get down where I weigh less than Tommy, so I can call him a fat fuck, and he can't say anything back to me. He can call me an old bastard. He'll always have that over me, but
Yeah.
so, but that's my goal. That's what's driving me is I want to get smaller than Tommy. So
Get after it.
I'm after it as hard and fast as I can. So anyway,
Oh,
did you watch the boxing match last night? The boxing match.
No, I've been living at work. They basically have a cot set up in the back for me,
Really?
and whenever I get
That's
done with
awful
work,
nice.
yeah. If they're like, oh, you can't drive home, you just sleep right here, and you can chain you to the radiator so you can't
Yeah.
leave. We have food, you know.
Thank you, sir. May I have some more? So,
I know, for real.
I did watch the boxing matches. I didn't get to see like the first couple ones, but I did watch the rest of them. I will say this. First of all, the event part of the matches that I saw, mad respect to all of them. For one, stepping into the ring, that's not something that's easily done, or should be anyway. The two young ladies that fought, which I think one of them's called Minx, and the other one was called Yodeling. Oh, geez, Yodeling something. She's from Alabama.
The Minx chick is really hot.
I think she's. I didn't think so, but again, what do I
Really?
know? Yeah, I didn't.
Hold on. Let me make sure I'm talking about the right person.
Let me see if I can bring up.
Just a Minx. Yeah, just a Minx. Yeah, she's hot.
Let's see here. Let me see here.
Just a Minx.
Here we go. Okay. So let me see if I can bring this up. Okay. So this match up here between Dr. Mike and iDubbbz was very good. And I'm going to tell you something. iDubbbz is not the creator that he once was. He's walked away from his roots as far as like comment comp and all that. But I'll say this, mad props to him. But Dr. Mike wore his ass out. Ian was bleeding so hard from his nose that I hope Dr. Mike had his med kit in the back to fix him up, because he was messed up. So in this matchup from Harley Epic Mealtime and this Eagle Raptor, I think, anyway, this matchup.
Oh, that's Aaron from Game Grumps.
Gamer Grumps, yeah. This guy here, Harley, and a lot of these guys I didn't know. I'm gonna just say,
Epic Mealtime, yeah.
Harley just totally dominated Game Grumpsy. But here's the thing I'll say, they battled, they fought, but they did it very respectfully. Now, when they went in there, I didn't feel like they held any punches. Maybe a little bit on the first one, the Dr. Mike said, it kind of feel like there at the end, because Ethan was obviously, he was done. He was gassed.
Ian.
His tank was empty, but Ian, but anyway, I think Dr. Mike kind of backed off a little bit so he didn't get knocked out, because he was rocked. This one here was kind of wild. It was kind of wild. It was a good match, but I think this guy here, DJ Welch, came in like last minute, and because I think the internet comment etiquette, I think the person who was supposed to originally box had to back out for some reason. And this guy, DJ Welch, came in at the last minute. This match here, Hundar versus AB. Now, the group that I was listening or watching this with, They wanted AB to basically be a shit stain left on the canvas. Period. They did not like him. And Hundar was, I'll put it like this. I'm about 6'2". I would be afraid to step in the ring with Hundar. Flat out. I would be terrified to step
Did AB get a shit rocked?
He did. Hundar wore him out pretty. Now, props to AB though. He stepped in the ring with, and there was like maybe it wasn't, but it seemed like to me like there was at least like a 2 foot height gap, and
I don't think they pay attention to the weight class and shit, which is a huge problem.
No, now I'm gonna say something. And every one of the matches that we covered, like the Mike and Ian, Gamer Grumps, and was this guy here, Epic Meal? They were all equally height and weight. They were all pretty much equal, all of them. The only one that was a mismatch that I saw was this one here.
Oh.
That was the only one that was mismatched. It was okay. This match here, Yodeling Haley and Just a Minx. This Yodeling Haley got wrecked. Just a Minx.
By Minx.
She's tough as hell, man. No bullshit. She was tough as hell. Yodeling Haley was punching her in the head, and Just a Minx was just laughing and just. Yodeling Haley
didn't have any power behind her punches.
Well, no, she really didn't. But there's the thing; they were the same height and weight, really.
Yeah, but like, there's a lot to fighting that people don't realize, especially like hip work and stuff. It's like get power behind your fists. And
you have to pivot your hips. That's where your power comes from, right? It's from your core. But anyway.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yodeling Haley, mad props. It was entertaining to watch these two women box. Because I was kind of like, is this going to be worth watching? And it was. And now Yodeling Haley was bleeding pretty bad. Just a Minx came out in full makeup, dude. She entered the ring in full makeup. It was wild. It was running by the end of the match. This here match, I don't remember. I didn't get to see this one. This one here, Dad versus Matt Watson. Dad bursted out of the corner and had this guy knocked out in 29 seconds in the first round.
Holy shit.
Dad went the hell off. I mean, he went absolute and totally beast mode on the guy. It was anyway. This match up here was kind of interesting. These two guys, I think they were like 5'3" or 4". Both of them, they were equally. Huh?
Michael Reeves is the guy that makes robots.
Okay, Michael Reeves wore this dude. I think they went the full distance as far as amount of rounds, but Michael got a TKO on him, on Graham Stephen. But that was because it basically they were boxing, and the ref that was in the ring with them probably. You could put these two, well, to put it like this, and I don't mean no disrespect in any way, but there were times when she would like rotate around, right? The boxers she was pivoting from where they were going, and sometimes it'd go in front of the camera, and when it did, it was basically an eclipse. She eclipsed them completely. You couldn't see them when she would walk in. She was a big woman, is all I'm going to say, man. She was huge. And it was like sometimes it was almost like when she took a step, they would kind of rattle on the out there in the ring from her step. And
oh my god!
These guys were like featherweights, man. I'm serious, man.
Yeah.
And they had a good match. And then I think the last one was these two guys here. This one was really, really weird. I did a thing one, but the guy he was with. He kept pulling his mouthpiece back out of his groin area.
What?
You heard me. Like when they were
weird.
getting ready to back, he pulled his mouthpiece out of his groin area and put it in his mouth. And then when in between rounds, when they take it to the in the corner work or whatever, Yeah, it was just I kept pulling the shit out of his groin area, and I don't know, man. It was weird. But all that I'm gonna say is this: mad props to Ian and his girlfriend who orchestrated, put all this stuff together. Right? Mad props.
Right.
I have watched. I don't know, two. I think I've watched one or two of the like events that were put on. That had the Paul brothers in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those matches failed comparably. They were horrible. And here's the thing: this match up that Ian put together here, him and his girlfriend or wife, I guess. I'm sorry. Just outshone it. It was just a better caliber show. It really was. I know some people in our community was kind of poo-pooing on a little bit because they were saying how it wasn't really marketed or wasn't this or that, whatever. From what I've seen in the stands were full. So it was marketed somewhere, right? Because, and I don't know what their share was on as far as the people paying, the pay-per-view streaming services. I don't know about that either. But it's just as far as the thing of it too was when the boxers got through with each match, they are all very respectful to each other and stuff, which I don't think you necessarily have to have that, but it was kind of nice to see too. So
Good showmanship. Yeah.
yes, it was nothing. I mean, they were just there to box, and then that was it. So anyway, well, listen, dude, we've been at this for an hour and a half, and we even got into some stuff that we hadn't intended. We didn't intend to talk about the whole boxing thing or whatever. But
Right.
anyway, it was
All right, chicken and rice and go to bed.
chicken and rice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Everything's nice. All right, man.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, listen. I imagine with your work schedule, you're not streaming or anything, right?
No, I haven't even found a guest for Wednesday's digging
Okay.
deeper.
So, all right, chat. Help Banana out here. If there's somebody that you would like to see him try to reach out to, or us to reach out to have on here for him to do a digging deeper episode, somebody in our community and stuff, that you'd like to see him do this with, either do it in chat, send him a message in our Discord,
leave it in the comment section.
yeah, comment section below the video. And just kind of let us know if there's somebody out there that you would love to see, because Banana does a very good job of having a conversation with people. I wouldn't necessarily call it an interview, but I would definitely call it having a conversation with them.
Yeah, because like the thing is like I want to do them every week, but I don't want to just put some thing out there that I'm not proud of. That I didn't, So it's like I really want to try to find something
that you find interesting, right?
Yeah. It's harder than you think, too. Like, because it's 2 hours. So.
Sure, 100%. I don't. But if there's somebody that you'd like to see him have a conversation with, let us know in Discord. Let us know in the comments down below. And I guess with that, I guess we'll wrap this up. Banana, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Interview AC already happened.
Yeah.
No. I don't have anything to say other than eat your vegetables and drink your protein.
Drink your vegetables and eat your protein, huh? Ms. Abby says she'll do an interview with you. So she knows all things true crime. Now you do like true crime, so
yeah, it's a passing interest.
Yeah, so
it depends on the true crime story. Some of them are more fascinating than others.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Well, we're gonna get out of here so Banana can go get his chicken and rice. I just had a complete total spasm in my brain. Anyway, we appreciate you all. We love your faces. And remember, guys, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you in the funny papers.
Bye.